Enterprises which employ fewer than 250 persons are the backbone of most economies worldwide and play a key role in developing countries. According to the data provided by the International Council for Small Businesses, formal and informal, micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, make up over 90% of all firms and account for an average of 60 to 70% of total employment and 50% of GDP. The United Nations General Assembly, recognizing the importance of these enterprises, decided to declare June the 27th the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day to raise public awareness on the contribution of MSMEs to sustainable development. President and founder Africa's Young Entrepreneurs, Summy joins me in the studio now to talk more about this day. Many thanks for joining us, sir.
Hi, thank you very much.
It is believed that the United Nations now has the habit of declaring, days for the celebration of all and sundry. What is the importance of this day to MSMEs?
I won't just say it's an importance to MSMEs. I would say it's a huge importance to the global economy. Declaration of these days should be one of the most celebrated days across the universe, owing fully well that the backbone of any economy are MSMEs and entrepreneurs. So I see it as a day that should be celebrated, a day that we should raise entrepreneurship advocacy and also to appreciate the impact of MSMEs and SMEs in the economy. You've just read it out loud for every one of us to hear, their impact in terms of economic development, in terms of job creation. And celebrating such a day for us is highly important, and I think it's a day well done.
You talked about the importance of raising advocacy for entrepreneurship at the lowest scale. Now, what should be done in that regard to draw awareness to the importance of this day?
I think it's just giving it more attention. This is one of the things United Nations have done. We need each different state governments, and both on the local, state, and even on the federal level to take these guys very, very much important and give attention to them. There's a lot of entrepreneurship programs that has happened in Nigeria, for example, and from our organization, I've been able to associate with other sister organizations that would say they don't get too much appreciation from the government, or they don't get too much response from the government. It's high time that our government took them very seriously, give them more attention, celebrate them if possible, and enhance and promote them. Like your platform is always doing, always promoting entrepreneurship programs. I think it's highly important that also media companies and news agencies across the world celebrate these mediums.
Now, speaking of which, please give us a scorecard for the Small, Medium and Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria. How seriously is this agency taking the work of small-scale businesses seriously in the country?
I would say that averagely, I think they're doing fine. Of course, every agency still have their challenges. We still have quite a number of our members that still have complaints regarding their response time and their reaction times to some of their interests. But of course, they can do better. You know what I'm saying? So I would say I would give them about 6 over 10, and I still hope that with a day like this,
6 to 10.
6 to 10.
That's a pass mark.
That's a pass mark, I think. Yeah.
Well, if we now weigh this pass mark against the backdrop of the atmosphere that small business owners have to work in Nigeria, the stifling interest rate, lack of power supply, and all of that. How do you view this? How do you compare, how do you reconcile your scorecard for Sweden and the atmosphere that small businesses have to work in? We
all know the atmosphere is not conducive. It's not conducive for a typical Nigerian, talk less of an entrepreneur, to survive. So definitely, we revisited our database, being the largest entrepreneurship network in the world. And one of the recent things we did was to inform our entrepreneurs that it's high time that we ignore the government. Nigeria needs to be fixed.
You can ignore the government, can you ignore the problems?
Because we now have to focus on the problem and start creating the solutions ourselves. I think the only thing we ask from the government now is allow us fix it. I think we're going to pass a new bill. They've passed the bill of not too young to rule. We are hoping that we're going to pass the bill of Operation Fix Nigeria. I've heard instances of people want to fix the road, fix the light, and they'll say you have to collect a permission from one local government, or you have to write something and get approval. I think we should stop that. Allow them fix. And Nigeria will be fixed, not just by the government, but by the people. So entrepreneurs now, we're not just looking at the problems and saying government should do this anymore. We have changed to the fact that we want to fix that problem. What we're saying now is allow us to that.
So how do you fix some of these problems which are fundamental? For instance, access to getting your goods from the point of manufacture to the markets where infrastructure is poor, power supply, you know, to get your manufacturing work going. How do you fix some of these problems on your own as an entrepreneur?
Remember, as an entrepreneur, when we see problem, we see profit.
Okay.
So it's not about we trying to enhance or trying to do it for a political party or trying to do it because we want to come in for a second time. What matters to us is profit, and because it's going to affect the second person for good. So when we see a problem, let's talk about roads. You see, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been going for a long time. If that has been given to a private company, and for God's sake, he's going to tow that road and make his own profit, that road would have been fixed, it would have been well serviced, and people will enjoy traveling on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. So it's high time. I have a stupid idea for the government. All entrepreneurs all have stupid ideas until it becomes innovative and creative. Privatize almost everything. Give it to us, let's undo it. We'll make money from it, but it will be working.
Lastly, before I let you go, your organization promotes the work of small businesses, young Nigerians who want to become entrepreneurs. What are the challenges that you've encountered, and what are the results, positive, that you have seen so far?
Of course, there's been quite a lot. As I said earlier, we're fast approaching 13 million members, and that's huge.
30 million?
Yeah, we're the largest entrepreneurship network in the world, and that's huge for us to accommodate. We've got very little resources to accommodate. You must remember this now, that when we have a platform such as ours, almost every Nigerian wants to be empowered, and they mistake us to be government funded, or they mistake us to think that we have a kind of grant from international bodies or whatsoever. So we don't have enough to accommodate all these entrepreneurs. There are so many innovative ideas in this country. We're going to be starting our program from next week for the IN 2018 program. And I've looked at some of the ideas that are submitted, and you could see very remarkable ideas. So the challenges we've encountered is very little resources, but I can say that slowly but surely we would internally make it, and we'll get there.
Summy Francis, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.